break this
Oh, yes, because we need to listen
transmission.
to Adegboyega Womolo there, who's speaking for the
Indeed.
federal government.
And indeed, I believe that this conversation is something that we can continue. We have to thank you very much for coming on the program. Ms.
Thank
Wafa,
you.
who's a UNICEF Nigeria country representative. Thank you so much for
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Also, we are now live in court for you as we join the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Judgment Day is here.
AFOLABE, and Lord, we are preparing for the prosecution. Thank you, my Lord. Yes, defendant. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, MAZINNAMDIKNU, appearing pro se.
Thank you, my Lord. Thank you. Before I delivered the judgment, I think it's just unfair to call the defendants, because after the judgment was reserved, while reading the file, I observed that some processes were filed. Defendants, can you identify these processes and let me know what you want to do with them?
I am most grateful, my Lord. We have joined issues on the motion on notice, my Lord, asking this very honorable court to refer certain substantial constitutional questions arising in this very trial to the Court of Appeal. That's the first one.
Defendants,
my Lord.
While you identify your motions, tell us the date on the motion and the date you file self.
Thank you, my Lord. Most respectfully, my Lord, this motion on notice was dated and filed on the 12th day of November 2025. An order, my Lord, praying this very honorable court to refer very, very substantial constitutional questions raised in this very trial to the Court of Appeal. It is a constitutional application, my Lord, firmly anchored on Section 295, sub 2 of the Constitution of the Federal.
Please identify all the pending motions.
All the pending ones, I will, my Lord.
Identify the one dated on 12th day of November. Can you identify them one by one?
It is a motion on notice, my Lord, brought pursuant to sections 1 sub 1.
Identify all the motions.
That is exactly what I'm trying to do.
Identified one.
The next one is a notice of the defendant's commitment to file a final written address. This was filed on the 11th day of November and dated on the 11th day of November 2025. That is the second one, my Lord. Dated 11th day of November 2025 and filed on the 11th day of November 2025, my Lord. Those are the two applications before this very honorable court. Get me the second one. Dated and filed 11th.
There is another one. I don't know whether you want to abandon that one. It was filed on the 17th November.
That will be the motion to arrest.
It has to do with motion for bail.
That is also there, my Lord. I was hoping to
identify them so that I know the number of motions I'm taking.
Okay.
You have identified two.
dated, that's the motion for bail, dated the 17th day of November 2025. Sorry. Dated the 25th, is it? Yeah, 17th day of November, and filed on the 17th day of November, my lord. Those are the three motions I wish to move.
Yes, counsel to the prosecution.
May please, Your Lordship, we filed a reply.
Are you ready for those?
Oh, I am ready to argue the applications. Thank you, my lord.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
In interest of justice and in order to save judicial time, the three motions as identified by defendants are hereby consolidated for hearing. Defendants, can you proceed? Move those three motions.
Thank you, my lord. I shall move the motion on bail last. Let me move the most critical ones first. Here is not enough to contain my paperwork, so it's a bit muddled.
Can I tell you one of your legal consultants to move to you?
Please, my lord.
Mr. Ejimako, can you move to the defendant you consult for?
I am most grateful, my lord. Lord, I am the defendant, applicant, appearing for myself in person, and I most respectfully adopt as my argument in support of this very motion on notice the following processes which I personally filed and served on the prosecution. An order, this motion, my lord, was filed on the 12th day of November, praying this honorable court for the following reliefs. An order referring the substantial constitutional questions raised in this trial to the Court of Appeal pursuant to Section 2952 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and an order staying further proceedings pending the determination of those referred questions. The supporting affidavit was deposed to by my younger brother, Prince Emmanuel Kanu, together with all annexures. My lord, my written address filed in support of the motion, wherein I adopted and argued the three jurisdictional issues submitted to your lordship for your determination. There was also a further and better affidavit and my reply on points of law filed in answer to the respondent's counter affidavit and written address. My lord, I respectfully urge your lordship to deem all these processes as argued and to grant the reliefs exactly as set out on the motion paper. And in a brief overview of what is contained in my motion, my lord, my contention is very simple. That ab initio, this court lacks jurisdiction to try me, that this very court is a material defiance of an appellate court judgment, the Supreme Court, with specific regards to count 7, which does not exist in the laws of this very country, and which the Supreme Court mandated this very court to amend. That hasn't happened. The presence of count 7 on this charge sheet, my lord, nullifies this entire proceedings completely and totally, because count 7, my lord, does not exist in the laws of this very country. When I reply on points of law, I will make specific references to the ratio that came down from the Supreme Court, where my lord Lawal Garba explicitly stated that count 7 should be changed. That hasn't been done, my lord, and this court is in contempt of the Supreme Court binding order. My lord, the entire argument of the respondent, I'm sorry to say, collapses on just one single point, not many, just one. The Supreme Court's pronouncement on the status of the written law is immovable. It is enshrined in the country unless a law is written, unless it is written, defining that very offense. No trial, no conviction can ever take place. And it is my submission, my lord, that this very morning, as we stand in this very hallowed chamber, count 7 does not exist. And not only the repealed laws that will come later, count 7, my lord, destroys this entire trial, because Supreme Court gave an explicit order which wasn't adhered to.
The consultant, you have to go to the defendant to tell him the procedure here. We have the practice of front-loading. I think he has filed his written addresses in support of all this motion. So he's not to repeat what he has stated in his written addresses, but to state the relief is sit for, and just use a minute each in respect of each motion for adoption.
Okay. Yes. I am most grateful, my lord. I am, without flogging a dead horse, I am asking this very honorable court, my lord, to please kindly grant my prayers as contained in the motion for reference to the appeal court. And may I also identify the affidavit in support. It is only a 6-paragraph affidavit, my lord, deposed to by my younger brother, Prince Emmanuel Kanu, also dated the 12th day of November 2025. There is an accompanying affidavit of urgency, which was deposited by my humble self, also filed on the 12th day of November 2025, and also a written address. My lord, in support of the motion on notice, praying for the orders I had earlier outlined, that too was dated on the on the 12th day of November. My Lord, may I most graciously ask my Lord to grant these prayers. Thank you very much.
What about the other two motions?
I should move my sometime?
Yes.
Thank you.
I've made an order consolidating the hearing of the three motions.
Okay. The next one, my Lord, is an application, a notice of my commitment to file a final written address, which was dated the 11th day of November and filed on the same 11th day of November. It is accompanied, my Lord, by grounds upon which this very application is predicated, and the grounds are 4 in number, my Lord, and I went on to elucidate the body of objection and then the constitutional foundation and jurisdictional limits of this very court.
You all have the grounds stated?
Yes, my Lord, you may. Ground number 1, my Lord, states here, the defendant, having called evidence through cross-examination of all the complainants with
was marked as exhibit PWF. 11. The statement of the 6th day of July 2021 was admitted as exhibit PWG. 12. A device to it, flash drive, black and red in color, and a certificate of compliance were admitted and marked as exhibit PWH and PWH1, respectively. 13. A disc in respect to the statement of the defendant taken on the 17th July 2021 and certificate of compliance thereto were admitted and marked as exhibit PW1 and PWI and PWI1 respectively. 14. Federal Republic of Nigeria of Official Gazette number 99 in volume 104, dated 20th day of September 2017, titled Terrorism Prevention Order 2017, was admitted and marked as exhibit PWJ. A document to it, medical report titled Relate Ahmed Gulak, hospital number 013931, dated 10th July 2021, was admitted and marked as exhibit PWK. 16. A certified true copy of the judgment in HIN/FR/2021 between Nnamdi Kanu'S versus Federal Republic of Nigeria and 7 others, delivered on the 19th day of January 2022, was admitted and marked as exhibit PWL. 17. A certified true copy of judgment in FAC/UM/CS/30/2022, delivered on 26 October 2022 between Nnamdi Kanu'S versus Federal Republic of Nigeria and 2 others, was admitted and marked as exhibit PWF. 18. A certified true copy of the judgment in suit number E/2023 between Mazi Nnamdi Kanu'S applying for himself and on behalf of members of indigenous people of Biafra IPOB versus Federal Republic of Nigeria and 4 others, delivered on the 26th day of October 2023, was admitted and marked as exhibit PWN. 19. A document titled Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiries on Restitution for Victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters, was admitted and marked as exhibit PWO. 20. a faster flash drive with certificates of compliance were admitted and marked as Exhibit PWP and PWP1 respectively. 21. A disc titled Interview with Sahara Reporter with Certificate of Compliance was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWS. 22. The search warrant dated 28th day of October 2015 with search reports was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWT. 23. A disc mask radio transmitter extra with certificate of compliance was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWU. 24. The statement of Benjamin Madubugu dated the 3rd day of November 2015 was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWV. 25. A SanDisk flash drive with its attachments and also with certificate of compliance was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWW. 26. Online printout of Vanguard newspaper and certificate of compliance was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWS. 27. A container containing a transmitter was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWY. 29. A certified true copy of report on request for professional assessment of radio transmitter dated 25th day of November 2015 was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWA2. 30. Certified true copy of Vanguard newspaper of 3rd day of July 2021 from National Library was admitted and marked Exhibit PWB2. 31. The payment receipt with revenue collection receipt from National Library of Nigeria receipt number 19128 of 7th June 2025 was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWC2. 32. The report of assessment of the damage as a result of answers was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWD2. 33. Death reports and certificates of security officers was admitted and marked Exhibit PWD2A. 34. Certificate of compliance was admitted as Exhibit PWD2B. PW1. The evidence of the witnesses. Mr. AAA is an officer of the Department of State Service. His schedule of duties includes arrest, investigation, and taking of statement of suspects. According to him, the defendant is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra group. He stated that his first contact with the defendant was on the 14th day of October 2015, when he was detailed by his commander in the Lagos office to go to Essential Airport Hotel to arrest the defendant. PW1 stated that he went with some other officers, with one of them named Bolaji Adeyemo. On arrival at the hotel, they introduced themselves and informed the hotel workers that they were there to arrest the defendant. PW1 even showed the receptionist the photograph of the defendant, but he was told that the defendant was not in the hotel. He then asked for the guest manifest, but the name of the defendant was not on the manifest. So PW1 reverted to his commander, who then ordered that they conduct room-to-room search. In the process, they enlisted the cooperation of the manager of the hotel.
Good morning, viewers. This is ABN TV, and we are live at the court where they are delivering judgment on Nnamdi Kanu'S case today, being 20th day of November 2025. We hope the judgment will be a fair one today. So keep watching ABN TV. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe to follow our latest updates at www.abntv.com.ng. Thank you for watching.
Studio, due to the broadcasting items mounted on the table, such as microphone, a tripod and airport, transmitter, mixer, and cords. PW1 said they located the defendant at about 23 hours of the day. When they arrested him, they also arrested him with some of his baggage, which was listed in this sheet of papers, which the defendant signed. He said the items recovered were about 70, and it took some.
This is ABN TV, where the world is on your screen, bringing you news like you've never seen. From headlines to highlights, we are your guide. ABN TV. Let's take you for a ride. Your stories, your world, your channel. This is ABN TV, where the world is on your screen, bringing you news like you've never seen. From headlines to highlights, we are your guide. ABN TV. Let's take you for a ride.
Biafra IPOP. Eastern states, South states, and as well as 2 states from the North Central region, namely Benue and Kogi. Also, that he founded Radio Biafra, through which he broadcast his intentions, inciting the general public, particularly his followers and those who are sympathetic to his cause, to violence, to achieve the situation he was agitating for. PW1 stated that he issued the defendant with this service statement form after administering the cautionary words onto the defendant, and then he proceeded to write down his statement. The defendant signed the statement, and same was countersigned by him, PW1. PW1 stated further that the international passport of the defendant was recovered and brought to them the following day by the manager of the hotel, who found the passport on the bedside locker. Also, that the defendant used the name of Owenekeyi Ezebigo to book the hotel accommodation, and that was the name in the manifest. PW1 stated that during the interview of the defendant, he admitted to the allegation against him that he is indeed the founder and leader of indigenous people of Biafra group, and that he operated Radio Biafra, which is not registered by the Nigeria Broadcasting Commission or any other government agency. In addition, the radio station broadcasts information across Nigeria and the world at large. Under cross-examination, PW1 stated that he was one of the officers who interviewed the defendant, and that during the interview, the defendant's lawyer was not present. PW1 said he took the statements of only the defendant, and that the items recovered from the defendant did not look offensive. Also, that they did not analyze the phone of the defendant, as they thought it was immaterial at that time. He said he did not personally arrest and investigate any person who may have committed any crime on the instigation of the defendant. Furthermore, that he did not investigate the lady arrested with the defendant to see if she was aiding the defendant in terrorism activities. PW1 denied knowing if the defendant's name named any other person as a co-conspirator, or if any other person is standing trial on a related charge. PW1 said, from his knowledge, the defendant had the support of persons like Simon Ekpa in his agitation for secession. He said the defendant incited others to destroy public properties. PW1 stated that even though there have been killings in other states, such as Kaduna, Zamfara, as far as he could tell, those killings were not product of agitations for separation. He said he knows that IPOB was prescribed in 2017, but he does not have other details of the matter. PW1 stated that there are people who carried out the order of defendants, including sit-at-home order, in which people have been killed for disobeying the directive. He stated that he is not aware that a charge against the defendant for inciting person to kill military officer was struck out by the court. Under re-examination, PW1 stated that the agitation of the defendant in this case is for a call for separation from the country for the southeastern, south-south, and some north-central states. PW1, Mr. BBB, is an officer of the Department of State Service. He stated that the defendant is a member and leader of prescribed terrorist group called IPOB, which means the Indigenous People of Biafra. PW2 also stated that he was assigned to take the statement of the defendant on the 17th day of July 2021, and that the purpose for the statement was for him to answer to the allegation contained in the letter sent to them by the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation. PW2 stated that the defendant is also the founder of Eastern Security Network, which is the armed wing of IPOB, and that he also established and operates Radio Biafra illegally, which was not registered with the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, that the defendant told him all this during their interactions. PW2 further stated that during this interview, he was with his director and 4 other officers, as well as the defendant and 2 of his lawyers, namely Mr. Aloy Ejimako and Abila Tokchak, that the defendant admitted that he made broadcasts inciting people to burn, kill, and collect weapons from police officers wherever they see them. That the defendant also made statements, written statements on the same day. He said the defendant admitted founding the Eastern Security Network, and that he admitted making broadcasts where he ordered his followers to ensure that whoever flouts the sit-at-home order be attacked, and they led to the death of many people, including destruction of properties. PW2 further stated that one of the unfortunate persons who lost his life includes Ahmed Gulak, the former senior special assistant to the President Goodluck Jonathan, who died on 30th May 2021. And also that the defendant made broadcast on the 20th day of October 2020 during the NSAS process, which led to the destruction of properties, including Lagos High Court building in Igbohere, as well as part of the Muritala Mohammed Airport. Further, that the defendant asked the followers to behead any military or police officers, and this led to the killing and beheading of a military couple in Olu, in Imo State. In addition, it was established that a retired judge, Honorable Justice Stanley Nnaji, was also killed as a result of the defendant's broadcast. PW2 stated that the aim of the defendant was the creation of the Republic of Biafra by any means possible, including war. Under cross-examination, PW2 stated that the video statement of the defendant was a complete reflection of what transpired during the interview, even though the camera was focused on only the defendant and his counsel. He stated that he does know if that it does not know if and how long the defendant was kept in solitary confinement prior to the statement being taken. He also said during the interview, defendant did not tell him that he was frustrated or angry. PW2 said further that he is not aware of the content of the charge against the defendant to know if any person was instigated or incited by the defendant to commit any crime. He also stated that he did not know if at the time of the DSS received exhibit PWF, the charges are already been pending against the defendant. PW2 stated that even though the governor of Southwest State formed the Amotekun group to tackle security in their region, he is not aware if the Attorney General of the Federation wrote to the DSS to investigate the activities, which led to the formation of Amotekun. He stated that he never listened to Radio Biafra, but only got reports from the DSS security platform, where people who are mandated to monitor same put their reports. PW2 said he was not part of the team that arrested the defendant, and he did not investigate the defendant's assertion that he was kidnapped from Kenya, as it was not part of what was related to him by his boss. PW2 explained that extradition is a process of bringing a person from another country to a country to start his trial. PW2 denies that an officer of DSS kidnapped the defendant in Kenya, since they are restricted to only Nigeria. He said Nigeria is a signatory to the United Nations Charter as well as the African Charter, and that many countries got their independence through agitation for self-government. He said there is no country today known as Biafra, even though the Nigerian Civil War was fought on the agitation of people of Southeast attempting to form their own country. He said he does not know if the defendant's home was attacked or that 28 persons were killed. PW2 stated that he visited some of the places that were destroyed as a result of the broadcast of the defendant, such as police station in Ebonyi State. Also, that he is not aware of the status of Sarara reporters and whether it is registered. He said the defendant confirmed that he ordered seats at home in the Southeast. PW2 confirmed that General T.Y. Danjuma, retired, has accused the Nigerian security forces of not being natural, of not being neutral. He said he is not aware that the Director General of DSS urged Nigerians to rise up and resist terrorists. He said he is aware that the NSIS movement was never classified as terrorist organization. He said the defendant was and remained a member of IPOD before and after it was prescribed by the court. Under the examination, PW2 stated that Amotekun is not the same as Eastern Security Network, as Amotekun is recognized by law passed by the Houses of Assembly in the Southwest states, while Eastern Security Network is not registered, not recognized by any law, so it is an illegal association. PW3 is Mr. EEE is an operative of the State Security Service and have been with the agency for 27 years. According to him, the defendant is the leader and founder of indigenous According to him, the defendant is the leader and founder of Indigenous People of Biafra, a proscribed terrorist organization, and also served as the director and broadcaster of Radio Biafra, which was used to incite the public. He stated that his first contact with the defendant was on the 21st day of October 2015 when he was instructed to interview the defendant and to take a statement regarding the allegation about his activities in operating Radio Biafra and also the founder of IPOP. He stated that on the first day, he invited the defendant to the DSS interview room at the national headquarters, where he and 3 other officers interviewed the defendant and also video recorded of the interview, which defendant consented to. He said the defendant did not reduce his statement in writing until 23rd day of October 2021 due to complaint of his being tired and needing to rest on the 24th day of October. He said the written statements were then signed by the defendant when he finished writing. PW3 in his further testimony stated that during the interview of 24th day of October 2021, the defendant was confronted with video recording of interview with Sahara reporter. In that video, the defendant was resolute that there must be a change and the change will not come through peaceful means. PW4, Mr. DDD, also officers of the State Security Service and has been in service for 25 years. According to him, the defendant is the founder of IPOP, a terrorist organization calling for the secession of southern, southeastern, south, and states, and some parts of Benue and Kogi from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. PW4 stated that he got to know the defendant in October 2015 when he was arrested by officers of the DSS. He stated that allegations against the defendant include that he was agitating for the secession of Biafra and using Radio Biafra to incite members of IPOP against the Federal Republic of Nigeria. PW4 stated that further that on the 20th day of October 2015, through an intelligence, they discovered that the defendant smuggled a radio transmitter without pre-clearance sent to the Nigerian Customs Service, that it was hidden from view using household equipment and was contained in a container. PW4 stated that it was kept in the custody of one Benjamin Madubugu in Anambra. PW4 said he got to know all this when he was handed a video recording when the defendant was seen in the company of the said Benjamin Madubugu inspecting the radio transmitter and taking ownership and declaring it as a game changer, where Radio Biafra will be broadcast through. Following an instruction from his superior, PW4 obtained a search warrant and on the 28th day of October 2025 proceeded to the village where Benjamin Madubugu was and retrieved the radio transmitter. PW4 stated that when they opened the container, they found only the transmitter in it and asked Benjamin what happened to the other items, and he said the defendant came to inspect the radio transmitter with one individual named Chimeze who took the other items away, leaving only the transmitter in the container. He said Benjamin Madubugu wrote a statement on the 3rd day of November 2015 at the DSS headquarters, and he confirmed the result of the search. Benjamin Madubugu, when asked, did not produce any custom paper. Benjamin was initially arraigned along with the defendant until he jumped bail and the case was severed. He said, IPOD has made life difficult in Southeast due to the sit at home order of the defendant, as well as the violence unleashed by IPOD. Further, the Eastern Security Network, which is the armed wing of IPOD, bears arms, engages in guerrilla warfare, where they attack security agencies such as the police and the Nigerian Army. They also ensure compliance with the sit-at-home order. PW4 stated that in a particular broadcast of 30th day of May 2021, the defendant issued threats that anyone who defies his order of sit-at-home by opening their shop should be killed and the shop burnt. PW4 explained that Ahmed Gulag, the former senior special assistant to the former president Goodluck Jonathan, was killed on the day declared to be a sit-at-home, that he tried to take another route to the airport in Owerri when he was shot by airport terrorists. PW4 said he was the first person at the scene and he found the lifeless body of Gulag on the road. He said that from the feedback he got from residents of Southeast, the sit-at-home order had depleted the economy and activities in Southeast, and the people were living in apprehension for their safety. PW4 also said that he knew one Ikonzo, identified as one of the dreaded commanders of Eastern Security Network, which renamed is Kanikayo Andy. He described Ikonzo as a ruthless commander who took direct orders from the defendant. PW4 further stated that Ikonzo was killed on the 24th day of April 2021 after masterminding attack in Olu, Imo State, during which he mobilized Eastern Security Network members and other adherents of IPOD to attack the correctional centers and facilitate the escape of numerous inmates who were in lawful custody. He also attacked the police headquarters and a lot of police stations or police officers were killed. However, he was involved in a shootout with security operatives after a manhunt was declared on him. The shootout led to his death. PW4 stated further that on the following day, 24th day of April 2021, the defendant made a broadcast in which he declared that Ikonzo would be buried specially in the manner of the Oba of Benin, meaning that he would be buried with human heads. Consequently, the defendant's order is meant to procure human heads for the burial of Ikonzo. The order was carried out by one of his junior commanders named Emery Uzoma Benjamin, known as Oye Ami, that when Oye Ami was arrested, he wrote in his statement that the defendant ordered him to get the head, but he was only able to secure 30 human heads. At the scene of where the transmitter was kept in the premises of the Department of State Service, PW4 continued its evidence when he stated that the container containing the transmitter was recovered from the premises of one Benjamin Madugu, wherein the defendant had smuggled in the radio transmitter into the country. The container also had some household items in it, which were later removed. Upon the matter being adjourned back to the court, PW4 confirmed that Benjamin Madugu indeed made a statement before the DSS. During the statement taking, he had his lawyer, Juan Vincent Obeta, present with him. PW4 also stated that upon retrieving the radio transmitter, they brought the defendant and Benjamin Madugu together and confronted the defendant with the evidence. He stated that the defendant accepted ownership of the container and that the radio radio transmitter. He also exonerated Benjamin Madugu by stating that the items were only kept in his house and that Benjamin Madugu does not own the items. PW4 also stated that the DSS wrote to the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission to confirm and come and inspect the transmitter, which they duly came and wrote a report of the findings. The conclusion from the report as read by PW4 is that the station known as Radio Biafra, was not licensed by the Broadcasting Corporation of Nigeria. Neither does he have any permits to operate in Nigeria. That for an organization to bring in a radio transmitter, it must apply for permission from the regulator, who is in turn right to the security agencies such as DSS and the National Security Advisor for clearance before the regulator issue a license to import the transmitter into Nigeria. That in this case, no such license permission was obtained by the defendant before importing this transmitter. PW4 referred to a newspaper story where the defendant had ordered an attack on prison in Norway, in Imo. The defendant had ordered members of IPOD to kill security operatives. Also, that investigation revealed that the defendant having ordered members of IPOD to bury Ikozo in special way by using about 2,000 human heads. His men were only able to get 30 human heads. Efforts were made to arrest these IPOB members in Olu, in a village bordering Anambra Valley. They met some members of IPOB with human heads hanging from a wire mesh, and they also saw some of them eating human flesh, which they claimed was for spiritual fortification. They also saw as well where they dumped victims and beheaded bodies into. PW4 stated that it was part of the operation which comprised the DSS and the Nigerian Army. He also stated that the defendant has never denied making those state broadcasts and was even proud of making them. PW4 also stated that record shows that between 170 and 200 security agents of the federal government were killed by IPOB and Eastern Security Network all over Nigeria. He knows some of these murdered agents, which include his driver, one Shinemere Ereke, and their tactical leader who were killed in Umuma local government area of Imo State. PW4 stated that the defendant was in the habit of making inciting statements ordering his men to carry out attack on security agents as well as political figures, such as Hope Uzodinma, the governor of Imo State. He stated that their mode of operation is that they move in group in Siena and others confiscated vehicles, and from there they launch attack on security operatives. They also set up checkpoints where they hijack other vehicles in good working condition. The group also engaged in activities aimed at terrorizing their community. That this group is so brazen that they even write to traditional rulers, informing them of their intention to attack them. They attack even in broad daylight, kill people, burn down palaces and properties. PW4 continued its evidence by stating that the IPOB group are even more brazen in their attack on police stations like the one at Njamba local government area of Imo State. That they raided the station, killed everyone there, and took it to their base. Similarly, the police station in Umoma in Oru East local government area of Imo State was sacked in the same way, and that the group even attacked a police headquarters where they shouted away arms and ammunition from the armory and burned down the place. He stated that on the 30th day of May 2021, the defendant had ordered a seat at home in Southeast, but the late Ahmad Gulad was unfortunate, caught in the storm as he was trying to catch flight out of Owerri that day. PW4 said he was the first to get to the scene of that attack where he found the disease in a pool of his blood. He was informed by the additional police officer in the area that the disease was in a taxi heading for the airport when the iPod and Eastern Security Network armed combatants identified him as one of their checkpoints and opened fire on him. The driver of the taxi identified himself as an Igbo man, but the disease even though he claimed he was an Igbo man, could not speak the language, and having observed a prayer mark on his forehead, his attacker shot him. The body was later moved and conveyed in a the activities of the defendant and his men. PW4 stated that the defendant is the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, as well as the founder and operator of Radio Biafra. He testified that the defendant used the said Biafra under cross-examination. PW4 stated that he did not sign any of the investigation reports, and also that the transmitter came in the country through the Tinkan port in Lagos. He said he did not find out the date the transmitter came into the country, as same was smuggled into the country, and that it was not part of his schedule to find out the date. That there are no records to show it came in through Lagos, save for the statement of the defendant that it came through the Lagos port. It also stated that IPOB was formed outside Nigeria and that Radio Biafra was operated outside Nigeria, but broadcast within the territory of Nigeria as it was an online platform. He further stated that the defendant was arrested in Lagos with his broadcasting equipment. He said it is not the duty of the DSS to find out if Radio Biafra was registered in London. PW4 stated that he and one of the officers were sent to Ugulusi Nuzo to recover the transmitter that they reported to the DSS headquarters in Oka, and from there they proceeded to where the container was located using coordinates on video showing the containers. They testified that the container contained one other items, including 2 pump action guns, one of which was found in the bedroom of Benjamin Madubulu, that the said Madubulu is facing a charge of illegal possession of weapon before Inyako jail. He also stated that even though the defendant stated that he does not like violence and crime, and that churches and other places of worship should not be attacked, his broadcast of 20th, 24th, 25th October 2020 clearly incited people to kill others. That the main cross of the defendant broadcast is the killing of Fulani herdsmen by raiding the forest of Southeast with AK-47, killing the innocent. He said he is not aware of any Fulani herdsmen being prosecuted for attacking people in Southeast states. Eastern states. PW4 admitted that Gulak conducted the primary elections that led to the emergence of the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, and that satisfaction over the declaration of Hope Uzodinma was still festering. He stated further that even though Goodluck was with 2 other persons in the taxi, he was the only one killed. IPOB sometimes do not kill Igbo person who violates the sit-at-home order. He admitted that the defendant said IPOB will compensate the person which lorry of onions was hijacked, but he does not know if the promise was fulfilled by the defendant. PW4 stated that it was the police who investigated the killing of Ahmed Gulak. He said during the sit-at-home, everywhere, including farm, are usually deserted, and it is dangerous for anyone to be outside. PW4 also stated that the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission monitors the frequencies of every radio station in Nigeria, and they were able to monitor the frequency of Radio Biafra. He stated that the DSS could not arrest Abubakar Shekau due to him carrying an explosive device to himself at the point of arrest. He said during his time in Southeast, he did not arrest any native doctor making sham for kidnappers. Also, that the checkpoints of police and the army are still functional in the Southeast today. PW5, Mr. EEE is an officer of the Department of State Service in the National Headquarters, Abuja. According to him, in July 2021, he was instructed to lead a team of officers of the police and the DSS, photographers and other investigators to travel around country to obtain and collect record of activities that occurred between 2020 and 2021 relating to the NSAS movements. He stated that the assignments included obtaining records from head of security agencies in the states visited, particularly the states in the Southeast and the FCT, obtaining reports of deaths and death certificates of security personnel who died, as well as public properties destroyed as a result of NSAS protests and riots. PW5, while referring to exhibit PWD2A, stated that 8 policemen were killed in Abia, 19 in Anambra, 13 in Ebonyi, 16 in Enugu, 16 in Imo, 17 in Akwa Ibom, 16 in Cross River. There were 6 police officers killed in Lagos, 9 in Rivers, bringing a total of 128 policemen killed. With respect to military officers, a total of 37 killed. The DSS had 10 casualties. A total of 167 police stations were destroyed during the protest. Then 9 INEC facilities were damaged and destroyed. Under cross-examination, PW5 stated that he only investigated the death of security operatives who were killed during the NSAS protest following the incitement by the defendant who instigated protesters to kill security agents and even taught them how to manufacture Molotov cocktails to use in the process. He further said it is on record that the defendant urged protesters to destroy public buildings in places like Lagos. He said he does not know if one of the protesters, Aisha Yusuf, is sympathetic to Biafra or is a member of IPOB. He said he is aware that the police brutality was one of the causes of the NSAS protest and that the defendant urged people to take up arms against the government. PW5 said there is no part of the report stating the activities of IPOB or ESN. He also said all protocols relating to taking of photograph were duly observed. He said from pages 669 of the report, there are some visible dates on the photograph. PW1 stated that there is no portion of the document signed by himself as secretary of the Presidential Ad Hoc Committee of the committee that investigated the aftermath of the NSAS protest and the chairman of the committee. However, he stated that he certified the document and that the document was not certified after the proceedings of 12th day of June 2025. The defendant had filed a notice of preliminary objection dated and filed 16th October 2025, seeking for the following reliefs. 1. A declaration that they continue the prosecution of defendant under the Repealed Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013 upon a prescription under order obtained ex parte and without fair hearing violates section 1 sub 2 Section 36, 1 to 12, and 42 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and Article 7 and 28 of the African Charter, and is therefore null and void. 2, that a declaration that the Federal High Court ex parte order prescribing IPOB obtained without notice or hearing, and why Justice Peter Inyako's sufficient ruling that IPOB is not an unlawful society remains in force, is unconstitutional, unlawful, and cannot ground criminality. 3, an order striking out or permanently staying count 1 to 8, saved count 15 of the amended charge dated 14th January 2022 for being barred by double jeopardy, having the same factual ingredient as count 6 to 14, earlier struck out by the Federal High Court on the 8th day of April 2022. 4, an order declaring that the defendant's extraordinary rendition from Kenya without extradition proceedings on due process violates Section 36, 1 and 9 of the Constitution, the Extradition Act, Cap E25, Law of Federation of Nigeria 2004, and Article 12 and 13 of the African Charter, thereby robbing the court of its jurisdiction. 5, an order nullifying all proceedings conducted in breach of the defendant's right to adequate facilities for defense, confidential communications with counsel, and for fair hearing, particularly dropping, seizure of legal materials, and denial of unmonitored access. The notice of preliminary objection as 43 paragraph affidavit deposed to by Ms. Nnamdi Kanu, a seedling to the defendant. The affidavit has 10 exhibits and a written address. In its written address, the defendant submitted inter alia that the Court of Appeal in CA/ABJ/C/625/2022 had ruled in his favor on the 13th day of October 2022, holding that his extraordinary rendition has divested the trial court from continuing his trial. Thus, the instant trial is unlawful and in disobedience of the order of the appellate court. The defendant relied on the case of Okafor versus AG Anambra State, citation supplied, to submit that any charge promised on repealed law cannot sustain and proceed to sustain any proceedings, that the provision under which he is charged has been repealed by Terrorism Prevention Act 2022, and thus he has no life to sustain these proceedings. He also submitted that his extraordinary rendition, as well as not affording him adequate facility, denies him of his fair hearing, and thus he urged the court to quash the instant proceedings against him. He also argued that the court is divested of jurisdiction as the subject matter of this charge is sub judice,